From a Craighill perspective, the issues that we're coming across every day are mental health problems, undiagnosed mental health problems, poverty issues, needs for food bank interventions, dealing with huge debts that for some people are just unmanageable. Don't know where to start to deal with that. They're definite issues. I think another thing that's becoming quite evident for us is that sector-based training is a successful model for us. So for example, we run care sector academies. We know there are a lot of jobs available in the care sector and they're entry-level jobs, so you don't have to have previous experience, but you need to have the confidence, you need to have a bit of insight and understanding. We know we can give that to people in a 4-week course, but we need that course to be funded. So again, it's about funding the provision that fills the gaps.
Basically what we do currently is we've got a project that runs in Dundee schools with 14 to 16-year-olds. So we offer them courses like fashion and sport and dance, and they get accreditation through that. That's again with young people who are failing to achieve in normal places. And then we also do an employability programme with Discover Opportunities team, and that's around guys who are at the extreme end of the unemployment level, so they aren't even coming out of their houses to engage with things, and that's run around football. So that's the kind of main things that we do. I suppose the big problems that we don't necessarily face is a lot of employability stuff just now in Dundee is through European Social Fund money. So it often means that people are chasing targets. So those kind of real hard-edge ones are sometimes, they haven't reached out to it as much because they're more difficult to work with. The type of funding that we get allows us to work with a longer period of time and build up a kind of confidence with those people. That's really key to it. So that's kind of where we're from. So I suppose what we need to do is think about how we initially engage with people and how we build their confidence in their skills. And it doesn't always have to be in a factory or wherever it is, it has to be about the person itself. So we use football because that works and people can empathise with that and then they learn from it. So I guess what the fairness thing is that perhaps it needs to re-look or refocus at what employment training actually is, because some of it is almost like going back to school for these people, but they didn't achieve in school, so it needs to be something different.
I think we want to be saying that employability is really important because there's a Fairness Commission and they're obviously interested in poverty, and for most people in poverty, work is the way out of poverty. But more than that simple message, we want to be saying that we want to be making employability services in Dundee as good as they can be, so we're conducting a review into how we deliver employability services with the aim of having a step change in our employability outcomes for citizens in Dundee. But what we want to focus on is any programmes that we deliver are responsive to employer need and they're also responsive to client need, because we've got to square both bits of that circle to make things work.
My recommendations for the Fairness Commission would be to look at things like a living wage. Is that a realistic option for people? Is that a realistic option for employers? So it's not just from unemployed clients' perspective we need to address these issues, it's from employers and businesses in the area who, particularly the small businesses or one-man businesses, the idea of the living wage is a million miles away for them. So that's something that I think needs a bit of thought. Other things might be, I don't know, maybe working closely with the employability pipelines, with the employability decision makers to look at how do we make opportunities available for everyone, regardless of how near or far they are from employment, because an outcome-based funding model, which is the way most employability programmes are now, tend to favour people who are closer to the labour market. So someone needs to fund programmes that tackle the issues for people who are further away from the labour market and who have bigger barriers to address. Much more difficult to fund and to identify what are we going to pay for in those terms. So I think they're issues that, particularly for the Fairness Commission to look at from a fairness perspective, how do we include everybody?